Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have here this morning. Visa plus Ripple equals interoperability, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to like it. I'll tell you what else you're going to like, too. The highlights from yesterday's crypto law that had John Deaton, Jeremy Hogan, and Mark Fagel, former SEC official, straight fire coming out of that we got for you. And you know what? Somebody roll that beautiful intro. Let's get into this thing.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.05 trillion market cap for crypto. Market is off by 4.3%. Good morning, everybody. 24,800 plus for Bitcoin now. Off by 6% on the 7-day. 4.2 of that in the 24-hour. Ethereum, 1633 and change. 6.5 loss on the 24-hour. 11.2 on the 7-day. Tether market cap, 83.4 billion plus here, you can see. We'll keep an eye on it. XRP, 47 cents this morning, 6.7% on the 24-hour and 9.2 on the 7-day now. How about that? And 6.7 of that in the 24-hour. So that is what's happening here. My eyes are open, ladies and gentlemen. But let me tell you something. We had one of the most, I believe, incredible live streams, private live streams inside the Digital Perspectives Mastermind group. And I want to tell you right now that the markets are changing. We do have lack of clarity, but I'm going to tell you something. This is the learning curve that you've been looking for, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't mind telling you, too, that if you're interested in private equity as a non-accredited investor, I would encourage you to take advantage of the special offer, the free trial, and join this group so you can find out more details on that. And I tell you, we got all the tools you need for what you're looking to be in this investment world. We're going to help you achieve your goals. That's what's happening in here already. You're going to be surrounded by like-minded people that are amazing critical thinkers. And I tell you something, this is the time when real wealth is made in down suppressed markets like this. This is the time to prepare your life for what is coming. And this is the place to do it. Make sure you click the link and join that group and take advantage of that offer. It will not last forever. Just a reminder right here, XRP trading pair listed on Australia's largest crypto exchange. This is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. We love seeing this kind of expansion happen here because it makes more markets and more trading pairs available on the XRP ledger, baby. And speaking of making things available here, take a look at this image, right? This image here we have is a product vision global cross network payments through one interface. Shows Facebook, Google, Uber, Airbnb, and then there's Ripple right there. Shows Visa, ACH, Alipay, PayPal, XRP bridging in the middle, just like it was designed to do. And then there's this. I want you to listen to the functionality of this Visa video demonstrating that it is inoperable with other peer payment systems. Now, let me tell you something. This is remarkable. Take a listen here.
Visa Plus helps you pay and get paid more easily. There are many choices when it comes to payment apps, but having to choose between multiple apps with multiple balances could be yesterday's problem. Because with Visa Plus, you can set up one pay name in your preferred wallet and pay or get paid by friends, family, or acquaintances from whichever participating app they use.
Did you hear that? And that's the gist of it right there. So if I'm using PayPal, but I don't have Cash App, right, it doesn't matter anymore because I can use my Visa Plus wallet and I could send it cross that to different systems now. We have talked about this. This is where everything is moving to. I don't need to find out if we're both on the same app anymore. That is over. And you know what? That is interoperability. And I have a hard time believing that Ripple isn't somehow involved in helping make that happen. I'm speculating, but I'm loving it. Right here. This is some of the highlights you're going to see. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. First of all, I want to highlight what an incredible conversation this was. It is so opposite crypto Twitter because these three gentlemen don't always agree. And you know what? They still had a civil conversation. Boy, could I send this to a list of people. At any rate, the overall thoughts on the Hinman emails. Wow, there was something going on there, says Jeremy Hogan. Take a listen for yourself.
There's no big bombshells that we're seeing in these emails. There's nothing that jumps out at you saying, "Ha, Ripple's going to win," or "Ha, the SEC is going to lose." There's nothing in these emails that screams that out. There's no we were kind of thinking maybe there would be someone in the email that would have said, "Hey, what about XRP? It's just like Ether. Why aren't we including that in our analysis?" So we don't get anything like that in the emails. I think when I first read the emails, the first thing that jumped out to me was that I got this feeling that it's really bad for Hinman of all the people involved. It's obvious that he was pushing the Ether free pass, which had just been some conjecture on Twitter up to this point. And then we really see in these emails that right from the get-go, he even named, like, the title of his first email was, the Ether speech. And right from the get-go, he's saying Ether is not a security, and that was the point of him making the speech. And you got to think, well, why did he have to use Ether as an example? Why couldn't he just say once an asset reaches a certain level of decentralization, then it's no longer security? Why did he have to use Ether? And I think what I came away from reading the emails was, wow, there really was something going on here. And
yeah, there really was. And shout out to Jeremy Hogan for sharing that and his insights there, and all those gentlemen. And we got more for you too. Meanwhile, Ashley Prosper shares this. It goes along nice. Hinman says he did his due diligence on Ethereum before he gave the speech, but then he can't answer how much Ethereum Lubin, Vitalik, or the Ethereum Foundation holds. He can't answer whether or not ETH mining is concentrated in China. And he cannot answer who funds the Ethereum Foundation, and is directed to not answer by Jorge Tenrero. That is not suspicious at all. And you can see this is where the questioning happened here. I'm not going to read it again to you, but that shows you that he did not do his due diligence, right? Then Ashley Prosper shares this as well. Hinman was also pressed by Simpson Thacher and the consensus to give the ETH free pass speech that he was purposefully omitted sending the speech to any of the commissioners except Jay Clayton, because it would, in his words, slow the process down significantly. And here you could see that. I didn't cut everybody else out because I didn't want them to see the boondoggling going on. No, that isn't it. I just didn't want to slow down the boondoggling. Oh my goodness. Stuart Alderati chimes in here with a comment to a previous tweet, and I'm not going to read that because it's really not as important as what Stuart wrote. What Stuart wrote here is important, however, and the promise of blockchain technology rests on the dispersed, decentralized network of participants. But decentralization is a technological standard that doesn't even have a single definition, not a legal standard. When Hinman SEC make up decentralization factors to determine if a token is a security, they do so because they want to brush aside the actual legal requirements, contract for an investment, a common enterprise, etc., as an inconvenient legal truce. I don't think you can say it any better than Stuart just said it right there. The point is that Warren Davidson and other representatives have come out with the SEC Stabilization Act. And that is a plan to fire Gary Gensler on the points of ESG, which is environmental sustainable goals. And if you're interested in those things, that's fine. But that should come from a department known as the EPA. That probably shouldn't come from the SEC, especially when there is no actual legal framework for the SEC to draw on those actions, as Gary Gensler is doing. Then you take a look at the idea of the way Gary Gensler's coming after crypto and intentionally, and we've learned this from the Hinman emails, creating ambiguity so there is no clarity and they can sue at will. And that is not a part of the actual mission statement of the SEC either. So this act is set out to fire Gary Gensler and restructure the SEC. We'll see. It also may be political posturing. Now, when there was the hearing, we covered the recent hearing in Congress on digital assets. One of the people there was Mr. Kaplan. and Mr. Kaplan is with Prometheum. And this storyline has got to be the strangest thing I've ever seen in a while in the industry. Matt Walsh says, has anyone actually looked into this? Beyond bizarre. And it is bizarre. I want to read this thread to you really quickly because it would appear that the CCP, the Communist China Party, is involved here. Last month, in the midst of the SEC bringing cases against Coinbase, Gemini, and giving the stiff arm to Robinhood and others, Prometheum gets the approval for a first-of-its-kind special purpose broker-dealer license for digital asset securities. Imagine that. Then Prometheum CEO somehow gets a seat in front of Congress yesterday and starts reading off pre-written notes, clearly coordinating narratives with the Democratic members of Congress. And then he says here, the ATS, Alternative Trading System, absolutely will not work unless the projects first register with tokens with the SEC. There are currently no tokens registered with the SEC because the current regime is not viable for public blockchain networks. Now, if you go into this thing, the founder of Prometheum is testifying at the Financial Committee hearing on digital assets. He will argue he represents the compliant path for crypto, and those asking for updates and regs are just scofflaws. So it says here, however, he is wrong on the law, and his approach cannot work as advertised. We covered here on the channel yesterday or the day before that Representative Mike Flood hit the nail on the head when he called out Prometheum's claims utter nonsense, because regardless of the license that Prometheum has been issued by the SEC, they are still not able to offer the biggest tokens to their clients and customers, like Ethereum and Bitcoin. Prometheum guys want us to believe that all layer ones are securities and will need to come and trade on Prometheum. Not happening. But enter Prometheum chain. What is that, you say? These guys have their own chain and, yes, a token. Well, that's just a PPT slide. They'll surely won't do a token. Wrong. They already pre-sold some to Wang Zhang and others. If you remember, Wang Zhang was also involved in the early Ethereum raise. Who is Wang Zhang? Someone might want to look into this one. CCP affiliate. What in the you-know-what? It's exactly right. According to PitchBook, Prometheum has raised $48.19 million. Look at all the private companies they require to file the Form D when they raise. Oddly enough, even in their early rounds, they used an investment bank to raise capital. And this is very rare for venture-backed startups at the early stage. Stay with me, ladies and gentlemen. They have paid in excess $1.5 million in sales commissions to New Jersey-based outfit called Network One Financial Securities. There it is right there. Network One Financial Securities has quite the regulatory track record, too. And look at all these, right? Civil event, arbitration, regulatory event, 18 counts. Just like Prometheum, Network One Financial is a China-affiliated firm. Why is the SEC issuing a special dealer broker's license to an affiliate firm that is associated with Communist China? Then there's this highlight here. Did William Hinman create the Hinman test based on law or based on money? Take a listen here.
If you saw, but the Stuart Alderati, general counsel of Ripple, they tweeted out
because we don't know how the facts will develop.
All right, Jeremy, I don't know if you saw, but why this speech was given. And I'm going to ask you both this. Now, I would say to Stuart Alderati, welcome to the party, because I've been calling for an investigation, and Crypto Law actually ran a video and a campaign, and we had a Connect to Congress campaign that delivered almost 100,000 messages to all members of the House and Senate, just wanting an inquiry as to why this speech was given. So I just want to ask each of you, first with you, Jeremy, do you think, at least with these emails, it buttresses that request and that we should have at least an IG investigation?
I do, and let's be clear and blunt about what Ripple's really saying, because I think they're nibbling around the edges of it because they want to be, They don't want to come out and accuse anyone of anything, but we can speculate. So my speculation is that what Ripple's position here is that William Hinman was somehow paid, and he was paid by the Ethereum Foundation or someone related to Ethereum to give this speech, give Ethereum a free pass. And then at the same time, and I think this is what really gets Stewart and Mr. Garlandhouse's kind of gander, is that at the same time, he then at the end of the speech lays out these criteria, which, as his video mentions, have no basis in the Hinman test. The first one is decentralization, and the second one is how many of the tokens do the promoters still hold, neither of which have any foundation in the law, but which he's kind of made up to apply to digital assets. And if you really think about it, at the time, especially back in 2018, the one thing about Ripple was it wasn't decentralized. It was a banker's token. And you can imagine that that prong that he just kind of made up out of thin air from their point of view is an attack on XRP, because at the time Ripple had a lot of control over the validators, and I don't understand it exactly, but it wasn't as decentralized as Bitcoin, for example. And then the other, of course, big one is he comes up with this kind of test or something to look at. How many of the tokens do the promoters still hold? Has no basis in the law, but it's definitely something that you can say focused on Ripple, because Ripple, of course, held like half of the tokens XRP ever produced. So, I mean, to cut to the chase, what they're saying is that this speech, one, was an Ethereum free pass, but was also an attack, a hit piece on XRP, which at the time was Ether's big competition.
Which really says that, suggests rather that, Ethereum was absolutely in tune with the SEC. It suggests regulatory capture of that government agency to provide favor and a monopoly for Ethereum and Ethereum Alliance. It is absolutely despicable, and there should be a full investigation from the Inspector General. Let's take a look here from Dark Defender. He says, hi all, XRP touched the price but reversed back from 56 to 48, now at 47 cents this morning. However, the weekly candle has not yet closed, so we're going to look for it to close above, and will lead XRP to continue the uptrend. Staying below 48 cents this week will lead to touching the support level at 40 cents. So don't be surprised if we see that rollback continue over if we don't get above that 48. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.